What would you do if your 8-year-old told her school that her mother left on purpose? That's the question that shattered my Tuesday morning. My name is Sarah. I'm 35. Single mom. Accountant. PDA volunteer. The kind of mother who triple-checks lunchboxes and still texts, "Did you eat?" by noon. My daughter Lily is 8 years old. Sensitive. Observant. The type of child who notices when the moon looks lonely. But before we continue, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for updates. So when the school called asking me to come in for a quick conversation, I didn't panic. I should have. The counselor, Ms. Parker, 42, calm voice, carefully pressed cardigan, gestured for me to sit down. Her tone was soft. Too soft. "She's been drawing something concerning," she said, sliding a paper across the desk. 2 women. One crossed out with thick, angry red lines. My stomach dipped. "Lily says her mother is gone on purpose," Miss Parker continued. "She's been repeating that phrase. Gone. On purpose. Let me be very clear. I pack Lily's lunches. I braid her hair. I sit on the edge of her bed every night until she falls asleep. So how could my daughter believe I left her? When I got home that afternoon, I knelt in front of her. 'Sweetheart, who told you that mommy left?' She didn't hesitate. She did. 'Who is she?' And that's when Lily looked toward the door. Not at me. At the door. Like someone might be listening. Have you ever felt your heart drop so suddenly it almost feels physical? Like something invisible just shifted in the room? Because I did. Later that night, while unpacking her backpack, I found something I had never seen before. A new form. School letterhead. Parental signature at the bottom. Signed. But not by me. The next morning, Miss Parker closed the file in front of her and said quietly, "We have to report this." Report what? That I'm missing? That I abandoned my own child? I walked out of that office knowing one thing. Someone had been telling my daughter a story about me. And somehow, she believed it. But what I discovered next would make the crossed-out drawing look like the least frightening part of this entire nightmare. I should have seen it sooner. That thought replayed in my head all night. Looking back, the signs were there. Small. Subtle. Easy to dismiss if you weren't looking for them. Lily had started sleeping with her bedroom door locked. She hadn't done that since she was 5. At first, I assumed it was just another childhood phase. Kids go through strange stages. New fears. Imaginary monsters. But this wasn't fear of something under the bed. It was fear of something real. One evening, I found her at the kitchen table, drawing again. 2 women. Same style. Same details. One smiling. One scribbled over so aggressively the paper tore. "Who's this?" I asked gently, pointing to the crossed-out one. She shrugged. "That's the one who left." "Left where?" "On purpose," she added, like it was obvious. Here's what didn't make sense. Lily has never known life without me. Her father left when she was 2. We've talked about that in age-appropriate ways. But me? I've been constant. Present. Predictable. So where was this narrative coming from? The next day, her teacher, Mr. Alvarez, 29, stopped me in the hallway. "Hey, just a heads up. Lily mentioned something about you not living at home anymore." I figured it was pretend play, but it sounded serious. Not living at home anymore. I laughed it off. What else was I supposed to do? Kids have wild imaginations, I said. But my hands were shaking. That night, I checked her backpack more carefully. Tucked between her math worksheet and a crumpled juice box wrapper was a folded piece of lined paper. 4 words. "Tell Mom." Don't trust her. No signature. No explanation. Just that. Tell Mom, what? And don't trust who? Me? Or someone else? I sat on the edge of her bed after she fell asleep, watching her breathe, wondering how long this had been happening right under my nose. Because here's the terrifying part. Children don't invent complex betrayal narratives out of thin air. 8-year-olds repeat what they hear. So who is she hearing it from? The next morning, my phone rang again. It was the school. "There's something else we need to discuss, Ms. Parker said. "It's about who's been authorized to pick Lily up." And that's when the ground really started to shift beneath me. I had no idea someone else had been signing in as her parent. That's what Miss Parker said when I sat down again in that same too-quiet office. And suddenly, this wasn't about drawings anymore. It was about access. According to our records, she continued, turning the monitor slightly toward me, there have been 3 early pickups this month authorized by a guardian. A guardian. I didn't authorize any early pickups, I said. My voice sounded distant. Not mine. She clicked the screen. There it was. A digital signature. My name, Sarah Whitmore. Except I hadn't signed it. Have you ever seen your own name used against you? It's surreal. Like someone borrowed your identity and rewrote reality with it. Who picked her up? I asked. Miss Parker hesitated. A woman listed as Aunt Rachel. I don't have a sister. I don't have an Aunt Rachel. Lily does have a godmother, my college roommate Jenna, but her name isn't Rachel. And she lives 3 states away. So who is this woman? And why did the school accept her? Miss Parker shifted in her chair. The ID matched the name on the form. The form. The same type of form I found in Lily's backpack. Pre-signed. Pre-approved. Someone had added themselves as a guardian. Someone had convinced my daughter I was gone. And somehow, the system allowed it. When Lily came home that afternoon, I didn't confront her right away. I watched her. She kept glancing at the window. At exactly 4:15 p.m. Like she was expecting someone. Sweetheart, I said carefully, who is Aunt Rachel? Her shoulders stiffened. She said you were busy, Lily whispered. She said you didn't want to live with us anymore. Us. Not me. Us. Who is us? Where did she take you? I asked. Lily looked down at her hands. Just for ice cream. And to her house once. She said it was temporary. Until everything was official. Official. Official what? I felt something cold slide down my spine. This wasn't confusion. This was grooming. Someone was slowly preparing my daughter for a version of life without me. And the most terrifying part? Lily didn't seem confused. She seemed resigned. That night, I checked the school's emergency contact file online. My password didn't work. It had been changed. And that's when I realized this wasn't just about my daughter's imagination. Someone was actively trying to replace me. But the identity of Aunt Rachel would reveal something even darker than I was prepared for. The woman picking up your daughter is someone Lily already knew. That's how Miss Parker started the next meeting. And somehow, that was worse. Because this wasn't a stranger lurking in parking lots. This was someone inside our circle. She turned the screen toward me again. Security footage. Grainy. Time-stamped. There she was. Rachel Monroe. 38 years old. My neighbor. The woman who borrowed sugar. Who watched Lily once when I had a late audit. Who brought over soup when I had the flu last winter. Rachel. I felt the air leave my lungs. She presented documentation stating she was pursuing temporary guardianship, MS. Parker said carefully. We've contacted authorities to verify. Temporary guardianship. Without my knowledge. Without my consent. How do you even begin to process that? How does someone step into your life so quietly that you don't notice the shift until they're standing where you used to stand? When I got home, Rachel's car was in her driveway. Same silver SUV. Same live, laugh, love decal in the back window. Nothing looked sinister. That's the thing about manipulation. It rarely looks dramatic. It looks ordinary. I knocked on her door. She opened it with that same neighborly smile. Hey, Sarah. I didn't smile back. Why are you picking up my daughter from school? Her expression flickered. Just for a second. Then she sighed. Calm. Composed. Lily said you were overwhelmed. That you needed help. Help? I never authorized you. Rachel crossed her arms. You've been distant. Working late. She told me you were thinking about sending her to stay with family. That was a lie. But it wasn't random. It was strategic. Seed doubt. Offer rescue. Become indispensable. Why tell her I left? I asked. Rachel tilted her head. I didn't. I told her sometimes mothers choose different lives. Different lives. She was reframing me. Slowly erasing me. Painting herself as stable. Available. Permanent. I was preparing her, Rachel added softly. Just in case. Just in case what? That's when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Ms. Whitmore, a firm voice said, "This is Child Protective Services. We've received documentation regarding voluntary guardianship transfer." Voluntary transfer. I looked at Rachel standing in front of me, her calm mask perfectly intact. She hadn't just been influencing my daughter. She had filed paperwork. But what CPS told me next would determine whether I was about to lose my child legally. Ms. Whitmore, according to the documents submitted, you initiated a voluntary temporary guardianship due to emotional instability and abandonment risk. That's what the CPS agent said. Emotional instability. Abandonment risk. I was standing in my own driveway, staring at the woman who had eaten dinner at my table, while a stranger on the phone read a version of my life that I didn't recognize. "I never filed anything," I said. Calm. Clear. Controlled. Rachel didn't interrupt. She didn't panic. She just watched me like this was all unfolding exactly as she'd planned. CPS requested an immediate in-person meeting. They also requested proof of identity verification for the submitted forms. Here's what Rachel hadn't anticipated. I work in finance. Documentation is my world. Signatures leave trails. Digital submissions leave metadata. Timestamps. IP addresses. The forms had been uploaded from Rachel's home network. Using a scanned copy of my old signature from a birthday card Lily once made for me, the one Rachel had asked to borrow because it was so sweet. Small detail. Huge mistake. Within 48 hours, the narrative flipped. CPS involvement didn't separate me from Lily. It exposed Rachel. Forgery. Attempted custodial interference. Fraudulent representation. And when investigators interviewed Lily gently, without Rachel present, the story unraveled exactly how I suspected. Rachel had been planting seeds for months. Your mom works too much. Your mom seems tired. Sometimes parents choose new lives. If that happens, I'll be here. Gone on purpose. Not physically. Emotionally. She wasn't trying to kidnap my daughter in the dramatic, movie scene way. She was trying to make Lily choose her. That's the part that still chills me. Because what would have happened if I'd ignored the drawings? If I'd laughed off the teacher's comment? If I hadn't checked the backpack? I circle back to the question I asked you at the beginning. What would you do if your child believed you left on purpose? Here's my answer. You pay attention to the whispers before they become paperwork. You question the soft voices that sound helpful. You look twice at the ordinary. Rachel was arrested. The charges are still pending. We moved schools. Changed passwords. Installed cameras. But the real work? Rebuilding trust in an 8-year-old heart that was quietly taught I might disappear. So I'll ask you this. If something feels off with your child, even slightly, do you investigate? Or do you assume it's imagination? Because sometimes the crossed-out drawing isn't art. It's a warning.